All right, cool. There's also some new faces I haven't seen before. Varsal, is that how you say it? How do you
Yeah,
pronounce it?
yeah. Marshall, yeah.
Oh, Varsal. Okay. Um, yeah, give me a little rundown on you. Have you been in the community long? Are you currently on an offer? Kind of, what do you have going on?
Oh, yeah, sure. So I just joined like last week, and this
Okay.
is my second call on the community. And started in sales in January of 2025. I was on an offer, spent about 3 months over there, and then I left it like I was setting the appointments, but I was not getting any closes. So I talked to a few guys, and they're like, just try to find something better. So currently, I'm looking for a different offer.
Okay, gotcha. And you were a setter there?
Yeah, I was a triage setter.
Okay,
It was a
cool.
B2B offer. Yeah.
Do you feel like you want to go into another B2B offer or do you want to go into B2C or what do you feel like?
That was my first offer. So I just went in and any job that I got. And now I think I want to move to
Mm,
a B2B relating to AI. So that's what I'm focusing on.
okay, gotcha. Gotcha. What about you, Bill?
I'm really new. I've been doing mock calls for about a week, so yeah,
Mm,
complete newbie, and I've been in this school community for around three to 4 days, and this is my second live call.
okay, so also very new. Welcome. Miguel.
Hey Caitlin, nice to meet you.
Hi.
Um, I've been doing sales for like 8 months, I think. Currently on a career consulting offer. Um,
Interesting.
doing inbound, outbound, pretty much everything. And yeah, just looking to level up my skills, get
Cool.
more of that money squeezed out of the pipeline.
For sure. Um, sounds good. Well, I appreciate you guys giving me the rundown of what you guys are doing. So for me specifically, my calls are pretty wide open. Um, we can talk about the setting process. We can talk about anything setting related, call reviews, etc. I also closed for quite some time as well, so we can also talk through about closing as well. So feel free to bring anything to these calls. I actually used to work with Matt, who started this company, and back in the day when I was a setter and a setter team lead over for Closers.io, and then I now work for a crypto education company, and I run the setting team over there. It's been almost 2 years, so a lot of calls listened to, a lot of setting calls done myself for that matter over the last like 5 years, I would say. Um, and yes, I love running these calls. It's very fun. I enjoy helping people get better. So, my question to you, um, Bill and Versal, and even Miguel, where do you feel like is your biggest hurdle with setting currently? And that could be everything from not knowing how to approach a call to I get this objection and I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to do, or I'm not comfortable asking about their finances, or what do you feel like as you've been learning, not only if you're on an offer, but learning to get on an offer, what do you feel like has been the biggest maybe
My
blocker
main
for you?
problem would be like once I try to ask deeper questions, just not like surface level questions, and I feel like I, I when I do that, I sometimes go like too deep, and it gets to the point where it's not related to the sale, to the sale anyway.
Okay. Can you give me an example?
Okay, they- so let's say they're explaining like what would they do if they had the money right now. So the job offer is like a one-on-one mentorship to like remote sales, and
Mhm.
once they make 10K, we talk about like where they're like gonna travel to and what they want to do, and then like it gets to the point where it's so like it's so much we talk so much about this that I don't really know how to go back to the actual like main point of the call.
So you're saying you feel like you're getting down to a conversation that has nothing to do with the beginning why you asked, like why they want to make more money, for example.
Yeah, and I feel like the reason why I think it's a waste of time, it's mainly because they don't. I think I'm not really good at creating more pain. I'm better at like trying to create more separation by giving them the image of their success, not the pain.
Okay. Um, so the goal would be, what do you want to do? I want to make more money. Okay, where do we go from here? What does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
One, the biggest thing you need to understand is there's always a reason behind someone wanting to make more money. Always.
Always. Okay.
There's not just, I want more money. What do they want it for? How do they want to spend it? Who do they want to spend it on? Blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so when you say, okay, why do you want to make more money? Well, I want to quit my job. I want to have more time freedom. I want to be able to go shopping and not like get the price tag. Da, 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 da. So there's like a multitude of different answers that they could use or they could say when you say, why do you want to make more money? And the one thing that you have to start to identify is at what point have they given you the reason, like capital THE, the reason that they would then go buy your program? Because if they're just like, yeah, I want to make more money, so I can eat out more. It's like that's why you want to make like go through all that trouble to start a business. So you can go eat out more. Or like, what do you want from the money that's going to drive you to put in the time and the work and the effort to start this business? Because it's usually not the first answer they give. And so when you feel like they give you the answer, you can leave that subject and then come back around, because what you don't want to do is have an entire deep rooted conversation about why they want more money. And now they've lost sight of the fact that they have to start a business. So there's two reasons that people want to start a business usually. Maybe three: time, money, or impact. And then the subcategories of those, time and money, would then be something different. So think of it this way: I want to make more money. One tree is because I want more time. Well, what do you mean? I want to make more money so that like I have more time with my family in terms of doing cool things. That's how money can lead to that. It's like I want more time because I don't want to work as much. I want to make a bigger impact because that's going to make me feel fulfilled. I like to tell setters like go 2 levels. Ask a question after the first one and ask one additional follow-up and then move on. Because you should have what you need after that second level. And always, always, always tie back the answers they're giving you to how starting that business would make a difference. They're like, so Bill, like, what has you looking into wanting to start a business? Well, ultimately, I want to make more money than I'm making now. Okay, gotcha. What do you do for work currently, or how do you bring in money now? I have this job. Gotcha. Do you like it? Yes or no, basically. Yeah, I like it. Oh, cool. How long have you been doing it? 10 years. Oh, wow, that's a long time. Why after 10 years, what's really driving you to potentially do something different? Well, ultimately, I'm just looking for more money. Yeah, I totally hear you, but like, what was the stick in the sand or the line in the sand that finally made you want to potentially go make more money after 10 years of I guess not making enough? Because there's a reason. That's your first key, right? There's a reason that after 10 years, right now, he wants to make money? We don't know. Like everyone's like, well, why? I don't know. We have to ask him. So then it can go down the path of, well, ultimately I'm starting to get a little older. My kids are growing up. There's more expenses. I need something different. Okay, gotcha. How much money, would you potentially need to replace in the business, like with the business to leave your current job? Do you see how I already moved on? But I'm going to come back around to it
Okay.
because I'm going to say, how much would you need in your business to leave your current job? I make $5,000 a month, so I need that. Okay. You mean you'll leave your job for 5K, not really knowing what the business is going to produce? Or do you need to make a little bit more than that to feel comfortable leaving? Most people will not leave their job for the exact amount that they make. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They need a cushion, a little bit of a cushion. Like, no, I'd really ideally like to make 10K. Okay, got it. So if you could make 10K with this business online, whatever, you'd leave the job. Yeah, okay. Ultimately, that would get you to your money goal. On that 10K, do you think that would be enough for you to take care of your family the way you want? I do. Okay, cool. When you mean like take care of your family, kind of, I guess, what do you mean? Is it paying for their sports? Is it going on vacation? Like, what is that like? See, now we're back in to the conversation about his family, right? But it's much more justified now because we now know that he roughly wants 10K a month to better take care of his family. He's made 5 for the last 10 years. And then he's like, well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, my kids are getting older. I would like to put them through college. I would like to, take them on a better vacation. I don't know, whatever. Who knows what people are going to say? And then you tie in the time situation because there's only 2 really valuable assets in the world, and it's time and money. And then you can go into the time situation of like, do you think that, is there any part of you that maybe wants more time with your family? Like, what's your work schedule like at your current job? And understand, like, how much does he work now versus ideally, how much does he want to work? And what would more time give him? Because those 2 things are what create internal urgency, Bill and Varsal, for people to make a move. For them to buy your program that's what, 5, 7, 10K, I don't know. One is not usually enough, and they're usually very tied together anyways. Because people want time without sacrificing money. And sometimes they want more money, but they don't want to sacrifice their time. So we get to marry those 2 things together and create like a really well-rounded discovery of why does this person want to start a business? Not, I want to make more money and I want to have more time. That's just not it. Now we understand he wants to start the business because he has kids and he's been working for 10 years, 40, 50 hours a week on 5K, and that's not enough to put his kids through college and blah, blah, blah. And now we have an actual whole picture. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. As far as thinking you're going down a rabbit hole, like I said, get the 2 layers and then move on and always think about what's going to get me information that I need. We don't need every detail of that person's life.
True.
We don't need that. It's not going to do anything. You want the big, like, boulders that are going to move something. We want it to move something. Just, rolling something down the hill that is this big isn't going to work. It doesn't affect anything. Nobody even notices it's happening. But when you start, swinging things so that are actually going to make a difference, then that's a different story. Same goes for goals and what they want. But think of it this way, in a set call, you have your current situation and your goals, where they're at right now and where they want to be. And if there's no distinction between the two, there's no sale. So for you guys, question, let's use fitness as an example. It's an easy example. If fitness-wise, you were exactly where you wanted to be or thought you wanted to be, and you didn't know any different, would you hire a fitness coach?
I'll be unsure.
Why would you be unsure?
But just to make sure, can you say that question again?
If you were in your mind exactly where you wanted to be fitness-wise,
Mm-hmm.
would you hire a coach to help you?
Probably not.
Yeah, it sounds like a stupid question, but the answer is probably not. Most of the time, no. Why wouldn't you hire someone?
Probably like because I want to change.
Why wouldn't you hire someone?
Why wouldn't I? Because I don't think I need someone. I'm happy with where I am.
Exactly. So if you think that, it doesn't matter what someone pitches you. You're not hiring them because you think where you're at is fine.
True.
So a set call is so fun because you get to change somebody's perspective about where they're at and where they want to be. And make sure that they understand the difference in the two,
Mm-hmm.
which some people don't even know until you show them that. That's a good thing because then we have an opportunity. If you've gone through like Cole Gordon's training, he talks about like Heaven and Hell Island. Hell Island is where people are at now. And it doesn't have to be hell. Okay, that's just saying. But where they're at now and like what's going on right now. And then where they want to be. And as long as there's a gap between the two, which there usually is, we get to be the boat in between the two. And the further we pull them apart, the more the boat is important. Because if they're too close, people think they can swim, which is, I'll do it on my own. But when the distance gets long enough, it's like, ah, shit, yeah, I need a boat. Probably not making this one. It's your job to make those distinctions for them. Because sometimes people come in and they're like, oh, I saw your ad. Looks interesting. They don't even at that problem realize they have these two things happening. Because no one's ever showed them that.
True. Okay. I think I understand now. Thank you.
That's the fun part, though, because you get to be the bearer of bad news. But also the solution, which is cool. Varsal, any questions or thoughts on what I just mentioned?
No, not really. But I do get what you're saying. So in my last offer, like at the beginning, I was struggling to find that clear gap.
Mm.
Most of the times they would be like, hey, let's just follow up with me next week or like that. And then they never pick up the phone instead of creating that urgency that, hey, you need to get on the call and see what we have to offer. But I do have
Yeah.
a question.
Yeah.
So for in my last offer, I was basically a cold caller, right?
Okay.
And is there a big difference between, let's say, inbound the leads that come inbound and the outbound we do? Or it's not really a big difference between the leads?
So here's how I would distinction inbound and outbound, just so we're clear. Inbound is people show interest and they like book on the setters in inbound triage calendar. Outbound for us, at least, so I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying, is they put their information in the lead. They didn't do anything there. They didn't book anything. They watched the DSL or something like that. and then the lead gets sent to a setter and they're dialing them outbound. And then cold calling would be they didn't even put in their information. You're just calling. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, got it, got it. So they're like three different ways.
Mhm. In my
Got it.
opinion, I don't know, everybody's a little different, but that's like what I think is like my distinction. So my personal favorite is outbound, meaning like I'm getting the leads that are opting in and then I get to call them. Cold calling is like you just pulled a list out of
Yeah.
nowhere. So it's, oh, thank you. So, Varsal, are you asking that for in terms of what you want to do, like what you want to do moving forward, or where that question kind of come from?
So I'm realizing that the way you talk to a lead that has showed some interest in you, it's completely different from what I've done, which is just,
Mm.
hey, like, are you interested? Because they haven't showed any interest. We just got a list from like you can say LinkedIn. So I think the way the conversations move are a bit different. So I just wanted to ask, like, how are like they're different from each other? Like in cold calling, they basically have no trust. Who are you?
Yeah.
And that way you have to take the call a bit longer to build that
Mhm.
initial rapport. But do you do the same for like outbound if they have showed interest, or you just get right into it?
If it's outbound and it's not cold calling, typically the frame is, hey, this is Caitlin with so and so. Just giving you a call because I saw you showed some interest in blah blah blah. Had a few minutes, thought I'd reach out and see if I can point you in the right direction. They're like, yeah, sure. Okay, cool. Curious, like what got you intrigued about crypto or whatever? And I'm like, oh, I saw your ad and it just kind of looked interesting and want to know how I can make money with crypto. Okay, cool, gotcha. And then we go into like, are you in any other investments or are you just looking into crypto? So we're pretty in the conversation pretty quick.
Mm.
Cold call is just people who you have contacts, but they didn't actually fill in the
Yeah,
contact.
yeah,
Okay.
which is hard.
Okay. Yeah, it's really hard. It sounds hard.
It's very hard. I thought. I tried it. I was okay. I would want to do it again if I had the choice. Hey Ben, that's okay.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I don't think you were on the call last week.
No, I was moving country,
Oh,
as you do.
where are you at now?
I was in Thailand, I'm in Vietnam.
Oh,
So
Oh,
I'm trying to chase after Jarrell, if you've met him before.
I have. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Vietnam as well. No, I fancied a change of scenery.
How long were you in Thailand?
A year, 15 months
Oh,
I was
shit.
there. Yeah, I was there a while. I was kind of sad to leave, but I I needed a break from big city. I was in Bangkok for that 15 months and it's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah. Bangkok's huge.
Yeah. And I'm actually the view I had about 15 minutes ago is the view that you've got behind you right now as well. Pretty
Oh,
similar.
my.
Apart
Yeah,
from
yours is
mine's
real and mine's fake.
yeah. But no, it's good. So no, just been settling in and obviously working on my offer and things, having graduated now, really trying to put everything into process. But yeah.
Good for you, dude. Ben has been on almost all of my calls since the get-go, I feel like.
Since I joined, yeah, I think you'd done maybe 2 or 3
Yeah.
before I joined the community, and then yeah, I just missed last week's, and I was running a little. I thought this one was in half an hour's time. I got confused.
We probably will move this one back because there's an offer that has a bunch of setters that want to come to my calls, but there's sales meetings at this time. So we probably will push it back to 12 Eastern, just so you guys know.
Gotcha.
Also, Ben, I saw you sent me oh my gosh, the Google folder of your calls. Did you want to review any of those?
If you want to,
Yeah, yeah, if you can just drop me one, we can review that and then Russell
Yeah,
and
let
Bill
me.
can hear that as well.
There might have been a couple that I may have had reviewed already, but that would be super helpful if I feel bad asking for call reviews on calls like this when there are other guys on that might have questions themselves. So if they have any other questions, let them do that. But if not, then we can do a call review.
Yeah, any other questions, guys?
No.
But by the way, would it be weird to like be on a sales like a appointment setting call with a background like a beach?
I mean, most of our setting calls are over the phone. Are yours not?
So far I've only done mock calls, so I'm not like I do mock calls with my face cam open.
Oh, gotcha. Most of the time you'll just be on your phone. So
Okay, got it.
I think one of the shorter ones might be good. Either David Hind or Mark could be good to review. They're both outbound as well, rather than they booked onto a closer, and I'm just qualifying, so they're probably good to listen to.
okay.
Uh,
Are they in a Google Drive? Can you send me the link in the chat?
Yes, I can. Yeah. No, I didn't know if you might know of any offers. It was just a bit of an outreach to see if you might know of anything. I don't know if you're hiring at the moment, but
We are always kind of hiring. It's a tricky battle with us because sometimes the crypto markets are pumping and we're getting, you know,
it
more leads
sounds
than we can
niche,
deal
and I
with.
didn't know if you might be looking for like guys that have already got some kind of finance or crypto background.
You don't necessarily have to have crypto background, but you have to be very comfortable talking to people about finances. And it's a bit grindy, if I'm honest, but if you don't mind that. Okay, let's see here. Let's grab one of these. Is there any call in specific?
I think either of the shorter ones would be good. So either David Hind or Mark.
Okay. We'll go with Mark.
Yeah. I can't remember it either of them either. So this might be they could be good, they could be bad. Who knows?
We'll see.
Hello.
Can y'all hear that?
Hello, Mark.
Yep.
Yes.
Hiya, buddy. It's Ben over at Start Your AI agency. How you doing?
Okay. Not too bad yourself.
Very good. Yeah, not so bad at all. Yeah, keeping out of trouble this afternoon. Just giving you a quick call, Matt. I believe you may have been watching through the presentation about potentially starting your own AI automation agency, if that rings a bell at all.
Yes, I watched it this afternoon.
There we go. Fantastic. I just had a few minutes spare between calls, to be fair. Thought I'd reach out, see if we might be able to help. Have you got a couple of minutes to speak?
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. Lovely. Well, the way I normally go about the calls, Mark, just to, I guess, give you a bit more of an overview on what it is that we do, in case you missed anything from the presentation. But, more so, just find out a little bit more about what you've got going on right now yourself, maybe what some of your goals are or what it is you're kind of looking to achieve. From there, if I feel we might be able to help, happy to try and point you in the right direction, if that sounds good.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Sure.
Okay. Well, bring me up to speed first of all. Like, what was it from maybe the ads that you saw or the kind of presentation you were watching that sort of sparked curiosity or caught your attention, would you say?
Well, I'm kind of in sector, so I'm a technology consultant. So I've been working, helping businesses transform for many, many years. But the old agency model just seems to be dying a death, especially now with AI coming in the fold. And obviously just thinking about the job security for consultants in general, really, with AI coming up the foreground as fast as it is, it's probably very unlikely that people are going to need or want to pay for my sort of business consultancy and technology consultancy into the future when they can relevantly get that for free when they realize that they can. And it's almost to that level of quality. So I was just looking around, just trying to see, what else there was, just doing a little bit of Googling, and then I stumbled across one of your ads. So yeah, I was just intrigued as to what sort of approach there was out there that might be different to what it is that I'm doing, that I potentially could, step away from, working a 9 to 5 slog and start looking into doing something that might free me from that jail that it is.
That's a very poetic way of phrasing it, Mark. It has to be said. Are you? I guess at the moment, are you working under an employer, or are you like a?
Yes.
You are. So not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
contract or self-employed or anything. When you say many, many years, are we talking like 3 years, 30 years? What's the time frame here?
I've probably been in technology for about 30 years, at least. And then I've been consulting at an enterprise level probably for, I would say the best side of about eight or 9 years.
Okay. Enjoy it?
Yes, sort of. I enjoy the work, I enjoy working with people, and I enjoy working with companies, and I enjoy helping them change and evolve and be better than what they were. But what I don't enjoy is doing it through another organization, really,
Gotcha.
where they're benefiting from all of the work that I do and all the brain power that I've got. So that's the bit that I don't really enjoy. And
Okay, what do you notice about this guy right off the bat, Ben?
Big pain.
Yeah, it's a good prospect.
Yeah.
Very
And
open.
I think I remembered like listening back to this one myself, and I think like he almost gave me too much pain from the very beginning, that the kind of pain intensifying questions that I've learned and developed, like I couldn't ask them almost because he'd already given me that. So I think
Mhm.
I'm just trying to go straight into like intensifying it further with time rather than going deep on the problem,
Yes, exactly. Because there's like a level of spreading and then going deep, right? And you have to choose when you're at that level of because if you ask too many questions about like why he's looking into this, it's almost rhetorical because he just told you. And you don't want to seem dumb. Like, just ask the questions that are relevant. He told you about the pain. How long have you been thinking about this? And how long do you think you have until that does take over? Right? And those are the nuances that you have to get good at, not necessarily like, oh, well, how bad is it? Like, who fucking cares how bad it is? That's the first thing he mentioned.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is. It's the first
I
thing he
mean,
brought up. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, like he literally said himself, free me from this jail, right? He's like, that's what
Yeah.
you want. That is an absolute golden nugget that sometimes you have to fish and fish and fish for to get a prospect to that point, and he just went straight there.
100%. I would have loved to have this guy on the phone. This is one of those like, oh, hell yeah, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Oh no, I hate Google. Shit. Okay.
it is very long hours. You do work really, really hard, especially if it's a global company. So, I've got all time zones to service. So it's, 6 o'clock meetings in the morning, 10 o'clock meetings at night. It's tiring.
Wow. Sounds rough.
It's not that bad. I'm making it out to be a lot worse than it is.
I guess. Well, you're not selling it to me, Mark. It has to be said. Has this always been like a bit of a thorn in your side, or is it? I guess with you saying that, with the prevalence of AI nowadays, has it become more of a even more difficult? I guess providing a bit more of a challenge in recent times, or.
I think the 9 to 5 grind is just been sort of mounting. It's just it just sort of starts weighing on you heavily as you sort of get a little bit older, and you realize you're going to be doing this until the mortgage is paid off, which is right up until retirement. So even if I do make it to that age, it just feels a bit insane to be working that hard until death and then not being able to reap any of the benefits. So it's been playing on my mind for a little while, and I've been trying to sort of look look around and reading some books and seeing what other people do and how they sort of break the chain and how they sort of can try and sort of make a little bit of money to make themselves a little bit more financially stable and free, and then do the things that they're actually interested in.
Gotcha.
So yeah, just been looking around and seeing what else is out there really.
Okay. How long have you been kind of looking around for?
I'd say dabbling probably about 4 years, and probably seriously. I've just recently changed jobs, so I'm seriously looking probably about a year or so, I'd say.
Okay. You changed jobs about a year ago, or?
No, just recently, just last month.
Oh, okay. How are you settling in?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. This company's a bit crazy, it's a bit wacky, but it's all good. It's a bit more global reach, which is what I was trying to sort of get as well. But yeah, I mean, quickly, getting into this place is exactly the same. It's long, hard hours, and it's well paid. Don't get me wrong. It's well paid. It's not awful, but it is still just working as a slave.
Grass is not
paying the
always
bills,
greener,
really.
right?
No, exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. Did something happen about a year ago? Was there a catalyst to? I guess it's been on your mind for 4 years, right? But did something kind of change that made it a bit more of a priority now, or is it more just one of them things that's built up over time and kind of eventually the straw broke the camel's back? And
Okay, first off, really good. Just don't give him that second option. Open-ended. Give him the opportunity to tell him why he made the decision. Don't give him an option that he's just going to take. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's good.
He's a smart guy. He doesn't need to be led. He'll answer. Now, if you're like having to fish to get somebody to answer, then you can give them an option. But if they're forthcoming with information, don't ever give them an option, because you want their reasoning to be in their words, not yours.
Yeah. Yeah, he was very happy to open up, right? I
Mhm.
almost got the feeling that this might have been his first opportunity to almost truly talk to somebody about how his feelings are, right?
Mhm.
I don't want to bring like sort of gender into this, but traditionally, males have had to be the providers, right? And like, if he's going through all these problems, then maybe he just wants to tell his wife that everything's fine. Suddenly, somebody like this comes on the call and gives him the floor to be able to speak freely about his
Mhm.
emotions and things like this. I think that's the sense I got. Could be completely wrong, but yeah, the fact that he was so willing to open up, he's
Yeah.
obviously thought
Yeah.
about it in his mind for a while, right?
I agree.
decided you might as well try and do something about it.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Probably clashed with a couple of people in my last job. Just differencing in views and creative opinions, if you like. And that sort of it just struck me again that I'm just dealing with strife and stress for no apparent reason. Just 2 seconds, there's someone at the door. Hold on 2 seconds.
No problem.
I think just while there's a pause here,
Hello.
I listened back to my.
And then I suppose that on top of everything else, I was just like, okay, I'm dealing with all of that stress as well as the grind, and it was just like, and I was just like, there's got to be another way.
Okay, great. Now, I understand completely where you're at the moment. I guess in the time frame that you have been kind of looking at other things, then what have you like kind of come across? Have you tried anything at all, or?
That's good, dude.
Yeah.
I've tried various different stupid things before. I got into crypto to try and sort of make a bit of money. Got into a little bit of investing. Not particularly good at it.
Okay.
So yeah, I've tried a couple of other things to try and sort of make the money that I've really got work harder. But if anything, I'd say sometimes I've lost more money than I've gained, if you like. But no, I haven't tried any ventures. No, I think not really. I've always stayed employed and stayed working for a business, really.
Gotcha. I get the feeling that those investments are more like kind of long-term strategies, right? Or were you like trying to day trade, or? How did that
I
look?
did a bit of day trading, did a bit of binary, so they were pretty awful and unsuccessful. And then got caught in a bit of a more of a fraudulent sort of scammy type crypto trading platform, which was just an absolute disaster. So that didn't go very well at all. But yeah, no, not. So yeah, so just a little bit of that, and then yeah, so I've got into a little bit more stable sort of long-term strategy investments, which is all fine. That's all sort of above board, and just putting your money away and just leaving it there for a rainy day sort of thing.
Sure, but it's not the sort of thing that's going to get you out of the 9 to 5 anytime soon, by the sound of it.
No, absolutely not. No.
Okay, gotcha. What would you say it was that kind of stood out to you about the AI automation agency model then? If you've obviously seen a few other things there, right, and kind of not really got involved with them. Was there something that kind of sparked your interest with this more so than the other things you'd seen, or?
Well, I mean, as I'm in the service-based industry, so I've been in agencies and run my own agencies. So I've got.
So, well, one, I appreciate your call style. It's very non-pressure, very conversational, which is largely the most important thing. And your instincts for what to ask are good, meaning like going, asking the right questions that you need to, going back to, okay, you've told me all these things, but I guess now I'm curious, like what specifically intrigued you about this? So your instincts are really good. And those of you who are listening or on the call, I can't see anybody's faces when I'm sharing. This is a solid set call thus far. Now, the prospect was great, but that doesn't take away Ben's ability to set the call, because a lot of people can screw up a good prospect. So your ability to talk with the person on the other side of the phone is extremely important. Not just be a qualifier, not just, oh, these are the 10 questions I need to ask. Like that is important, sure, but you will always get more if you're able to connect with the other person. And I think that's what this call is showing really well, is like, this guy is willing to open up, but Ben's also doing a phenomenal job of navigating this conversation. And so if you listen back to your set calls and you're like, it's just me awkwardly asking questions, your first line of work to do next is, how can I have a conversation with somebody? As if I've known them for 50 years. Because when you get to that comfort level, you'll bring them to a new comfort level. And when they're at a new comfort level, they give you more information. I know that you have answered the phone or been shopping or went to the doctor even, where you're like, well, this person's weird. I do not want to talk to them. It's all happened. Like some doctors are just like out of this world strange. And then other doctors, you're like, oh, I want to share everything with them. Right? Like that happened to all of us in all different scenarios. And that also happens on the phone with people. Because remember, guys, you are literally a stranger from the internet. You are. They don't know you. They don't know if you're fucking scam or whatever. But Ben does a great job of being grounded and calm and making this guy feel very comfortable. And this guy's just open book. Here, yeah, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. And that's a skill set in itself that most people do not have, that they have to work really hard for. So kudos, Ben, if this came naturally to you.
I was just going to say this while there was a pause, is I have had to work on slowing down. As a very quite extroverted person, I like to talk and I'm sometimes quite fast. Now, I feel like with this, potentially I was too slow at the beginning. I feel like by slowing down, my energy drops. So I'm working on slowing down while still maintaining the energy. But I actually feel on this call that it worked in my favor, because that was his energy as well, and it just matched. And I think if I came in very high energy and very positive and if it was a goals-based conversation, fantastic, I could get on his level really well. But the fact it's pain-based and I was able to get on his level, I think is what ultimately allowed him to open up more, right?
I agree. Matching someone's energy is important too.
Huge.
And or if their energy is like really, really bad, helping them bring it up, right? You have to read the room or the phone,
quite a lot of experience in service. So the tact and the the words that you were using
No, don't pause.
with regards to
Okay.
serve, it is it's still a service-based model. It's just you're just doing it more intelligently. That's what sort of really perked my interest, was the fact that I could use a lot of transferable skills here. It's not like I'm starting from the get-go and the
Yeah.
zero. It's very transferable. I understand service-based businesses. I understand B2B organizations really, really well. I know how to do sector research and trying to figure all of that kind of stuff out. So it's it's very close to what it is that I'm doing now, but maybe just a much better, more streamlined and more modern approach using AI. So yeah, that was definitely what perked my ears up.
Yeah, I think you've summarized it pretty well. Is like, at the end of the day, we're not reinventing the wheel in terms of how the business model is actually run. Agencies have been around for a long time, as is outsourcing the work as well, to allow you to scale the business. It's just that AI is brand new, right? It's kind of on everyone's lips at the minute. Business owners very keen to talk about it, to see how it might be able to help their business. There's just a complete lack of supply at the minute, right? So that's where there's kind of a big opportunity. I guess, I'd be inclined to agree. It sounds like you've had a fairly successful career. You obviously know a lot about this kind of stuff already, implementing tech into businesses. Like, what would prevent you just figuring it out on your own?
That's a good question. What would?
All good questions, Mayana, Mark.
Yeah, you're asking all the good questions. So nothing really other than time, I guess. So, but that's the thing that I'm poorest of at the moment. Really, I've got I'm saying that I don't have lots of money, but I've got a little bit of money saved up. But
Okay.
time is what I'm short of. So I work very, very long hours. I've got family commitments that chew up the rest of my time, and then the house. And so I don't have a lot of available time to sit and churn through and try and figure this stuff all out on my own.
This goes back to what we talked about earlier with time and money being the focus of most anybody's lives. He just hit on both points. I don't have a lot of money, but I got a little bit of money saved up, which is probably more than a little bit in most people's eyes, I would assume. We don't know. And then he basically goes into his time restrictions. And so you can use those things in the pitch of getting them to the next call of like, this process is I don't know if this is true or not. I'm just spitballing here, but this process is one of the few that doesn't take a lot of upfront capital, blah, 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 and really takes this much time. And once you get set up, only this much time. And you play to both of the things that he wants or doesn't have. Does that make sense? We'll see what you do here.
Might get there on my own, but the time and the pace of things, it doesn't equate to taking up opportunities when they arise, really.
You might never get there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let me cross that bridge here quickly as well, because obviously, I'm not saying that this is easy or you don't need to invest any time whatsoever. Of course, we try to make it as simple as possible for you, give you the roadmap and give you access to mentorship that kind of holds your hand every step of the way. But we do typically say that, in order to be successful with something like this, you would need to allocate somewhere in the region of 15 to 20 hours a week to it. That's at least in the short term while you're going through the training, you're implementing everything that we're talking about, you're getting that one-on-one guidance. Of course, the ultimate goal is to have a business there that you can put as much or little time as you want into, right? But in terms of the short time, if this was something that did make sense to you, do you feel like you would be able to allocate 15 to 20 hours a week, about 2 to 3 hours a day?
Yeah, that would be tough, but yeah, I'd have to try and figure it out.
I guess it's not always like most of us. Let me preface by saying this, right? Most of our students are in some form of employment, 95%. We're not talking about quitting your job here. That's a silly thing to do, especially without any kind of proven track record or, knowing that this is going to work for sure. Not necessarily it doesn't have to be like 2 to 3 hours a day. Typically, people might have a couple of hours in the morning or the evening during the week when they are working and then able to allocate a little bit more time, at the weekends. But I guess it comes down to character as well, right? It's like, it depends how much you really want to make a change is, people will either say, well, I don't have the time, so I'm not going to do it, or, I really want this, so I'm willing to kind of make the time. So I guess, like, if everything did make sense, would you be open to, at least thinking about how you could make this work, at least in the short term?
Yeah, I probably should look into it
Okay.
a bit deeper.
Well, we'll take that as a starting point. Where are we trying to get to? Let's say, so it's, obviously wanting to build something that ultimately replaces what you're doing now, but you got to kind of break it down into like manageable steps. So I guess, step one would probably be replacing the kind of income that you're making now in order to have that conversation about like transitioning over, right? How much would you say you would need to be making a month for that to be a valid conversation?
I'd need to be clearing about 6K a month.
Okay. In the pocket or revenue?
In the pocket, yeah.
Okay, sweet. Certainly doable. As I said, not easy. The minimum that we charge for that we teach you how to charge for any of these solutions is about 3K. So when we started out, we started out 18 months ago with a group of 15 students. We got them all to a point where they were doing 3K per month within their first 3 months. We've got guys now that run agencies that do like 10, 15, even 20K per month on the higher end. But 6K per month, profit target is about 70-80%. So you'd be walking away with about like 5 to 5.5, depending. My maths is not great, but somewhere around there, with 2 clients under your belt. So I'd say, like, not easy, but certainly doable. And I guess like that's probably the starting point, right? So where would you potentially look to scale up to, would you say?
Yeah, I'm not greedy. I'd just like to sort of pay the mortgage off, be comfortable, and just take the kids on holiday quite regularly. So,
gotcha.
Anywhere up to about sort of, I don't know, 20K a month.
Yeah. Nice. I think it's always important to have those whys as well, isn't it? Sounds like we're not so. Would you say for you that it's more about having that time freedom back rather than taking over the ones and making a shit ton of money?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Especially having a family and wanting to take them on holiday a little bit more. You feel like you're not really able to do that as much as you should be.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little bit more of a quality of life, really.
Awesome. Easy as. Cool. Do you mind if I share a suggestion real quick?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of based on everything that we've talked about here, your background in the kind of tech consulting industry, it's not the sort of thing that's going to take you forever to learn how to do, right? As you said yourself, you've got a lot of transferable skills, obviously got your head screwed on. I think the AI automation model could make a lot of sense for you. I think you'd be a great fit for the program. Next steps from here really will be to jump on a call with one of the advisors here. Really just to break everything down in a lot more detail, not only how the business model works, but how we work in terms of a training and mentorship provider, give you an opportunity to kind of ask any questions you might have off the back of that, and really for us to figure out if this is something that might be able to allow you to transition out of that, have a bit more time with the family, make that kind of 6 to 20K per month you're looking for. I mean, if I could set up a call with one of the advisors here, would you be open to a conversation like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Need to.
I think for the most part, I actually really like that call. And I don't not like the transition. I think that I would have just brought more of that pain versus goal energy into the transition. Meaning talking about because what is he making right now? 6K a month?
Yeah, that's how much he said he'd need to transition. It's probably about right given what he does, yeah.
Yeah, so 6K a month, he has a family, he wants to spend more time with them, and bringing that in. And I mean, he said, I'm not greedy, 20 grand a month. That's literally $14,000 more than what he's making now per month.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you go into the transition, it's your opportunity to like push on the bruise a little bit. See what I'm saying? Get a little bit of like remind them of how far they are. Because he mentioned making 6K and wanting 20K so far apart in the conversation. The closer they get, the bigger of the gap he realizes there is. And so when you go into the transition, that's a great time in any offer to talk about, you said, like, can I share something that based on what we've talked about, blah, blah, blah. Use that. You're at 6K a month now, and from what it sounds like, you really don't have as much time as you would like. And ultimately, you want to get to 20,000 a month, which is, help almost $15,000 more than where you're at now, and have some time back. And although it is going to take 2 to 3 hours a day, or maybe some here or some there, to be able to make that big of a jump, you're going to need the guidance and really like put the pressure on. Does that make sense, Ben?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. This is why I asked you for advice on the goals part of the call before, is because you can probably sense there that was the weakest part of the call, and that's what my transition then pitching the appointment would have been so much stronger if my goals were as clear as the pain that I had, and you could really like build that bridge. But because the goals was weak, the transition is going to be weak, and then you sort of you shot yourself in the foot, right?
Yeah, and by no means do I think that was bad. That was a pretty damn good set call, and I would have been happy with it from one of my setters, and my standards are high. Yeah. So there's always things we can fix. There's always things we can work on. And the second you forget that in sales, you've already lost the game, because somebody else will always be working harder than you. It's just normal. So I think that it's just a great, reality check for everybody here, whether you've been on a setter, you've been a closer, or you're just starting, is like, you always have to act as if there's someone better around you, and then you will continuously always get better. And the setters that I have that have always had that mindset, I will never tell them this, but they're the best setters that we have. But I'm not going to tell them that, because then they'll think they're the best setters that we have, and then that's a problem. So
get lazy and stop putting the work in.
Yeah. Now, the second you start putting the work in on my offer, you don't make any money. So they can't stop doing that, because the potential is great, but it can be very grindy in terms of getting the prospects we need. But I think overall, you are correct in that the goals portion is probably the one kind of like gap for you that would really take it to the next level, is just being able to stretch the pain to the goal a little bit further.
Yeah. Well, that was pre the meeting that we had. So actually, yeah, goals has improved now. I think it was good that I recognised that was the weak part, right? And showing that I'm working on it. But no, I appreciate your feedback. That was very nice to hear, to be fair. I'll take it.
You should be proud of yourself. Being a truly a good setter in the space is a skill that is rare. I interview a lot of people. And so anytime that you really truly have invested in your skill set and feel like you're getting better, you'll have a job for the rest of your life, because every offer needs good setters, really and truthfully.
The progress that I have made in like the 3-4 weeks that I've been part of S2C has been unbelievable, night and day. Like, really did not know what I was doing to, like, that's kind of where I'm at now, if not even better, like in the past 2 weeks, right? So I'm it's not been without hard work. I'm proud of my progress, but it just goes to show, like, investing in the right training and stuff can bring you up miles. It really can.
Yeah, 100%. And this is how you guys need to feel about your conviction of your program. Doing that for other people.
Correct.
And if you have that, you'll be good to go. Cool. Bill, can you send me those questions in school? I have to hop for another call that I'm already 3 minutes late to. But I would love to answer those, and I can even answer them in a public thread as well. Just message me and I'll take care of them there. Okay, guys, I hate to hop. I did not realize what time it was, but I hope to see everybody next week. It'll be an hour later, so just check the schedule. Like the call's moving an hour later, for purposes of more people being able to join. So if y'all need anything between then, message me. Ben, I messaged you on school. If you want to check that.
Thanks.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. I appreciate y'all. See you soon.
Thanks, Caitlin. Bye now.